Hyundai just held their annual CEO Investor Day where they discussed their roadmap for the next few years. This was a pretty long presentation, but in this video, I'm going to tell you guys about some of the highlights that I thought you would find interesting as Hyundai EV owners. So with that being said, let's dive in. So here on this first slide, it's called Advanced Battery Technology. And on the left portion, you can see battery durability performance. Basically what they're showing here is 50,000 data points from Ioniq 5 vehicles, which are showing across various mileage cars that battery capacity remains at about 90% or higher, even on cars that have as many miles as 250,000. This is really reassuring data to see. I mean, most of us who have OBD2 scanners and check kind of the battery degradation of our cars know that it's pretty good. There's one guy in my Facebook group who drives for a rideshare, and his car still shows just under 90% of battery capacity after 260 or 270,000 miles, I think was his last update. And he does basically all DC fast charging because he's driving for rideshare. He needs to charge up quick. Now, of course, we should take this data with a grain of salt because we don't know what data points were possibly omitted. Maybe they cherry-picked this for this presentation. Who knows? But I think across all of social media and what people are reporting, it is kind of in line with what they are saying here. Now, moving on to the right portion of this slide, what they're showing here is where they see their battery technology going in the year 2027 and above. So they are saying they are going to reduce the cost per kilowatt hour by 30%. That is very significant. As it stands today, batteries are about $100 to $120 per kilowatt hour. That's going to vary, but we are approaching that kind of magical sub $100 per kilowatt hour price, which is the point where EVs can actually start to be really competitive with their gas counterparts. So the fact that we're only a little over a year away from that is really great to see. Now, what they're also saying here, energy density, watt hour per liter. 15% increase with this next gen battery pack. That is also really important because the more energy you can fit into a given space, the further the car can go on a single charge. And last but certainly not least, with their next gen battery tech, they are saying a 15% reduction in charging time. Now, what does that actually mean in real world numbers? So if you're driving an Ioniq 5 or Ioniq 6 outside of North America, your car charges 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. So reducing that time by 15% would lead to just over 15 minutes to do the same. Now, for those of us in North America with the NACS charge port, our cars charge from 10 to 80% in 20 minutes, a 2-minute increase for whatever reason. So with a 15% reduction there, that will bring the charge time down to about 17 minutes or so. So really, it's kind of just catching back up to where the car was before the transition to NACS, which is kind of unfortunate. But for cars like the Ioniq 9, who have a 24-minute charging time, that means a reduction of 4.5 minutes, bringing it to about 20.5, which is pretty good considering the battery capacity. Although this reduction in charging time is great and welcome, I still don't think it's a breakthrough, especially when you consider what the Chinese competitors are doing. They are still blowing these numbers away, talking 10 to 80% in less than 10 minutes. It's just not competitive enough with these Chinese automakers. Now, granted, we may never have these Chinese competitors here for sale in the United States, but they're definitely going to be coming to Canada like they did in Europe. And cheap plus fast charging equals big sales. So I'm really hoping Hyundai can push the envelope a little bit further. Now, after this, Hyundai did go into a slide called Safety First Battery Design. I think they specifically stuck this in because there's been a few battery fires in Korea in parking garages that have really scared the Korean population about EV charging safety and just EVs in general. So I think that's kind of why they put this in here. But they're talking about BMS diagnostics and monitoring the battery for potential issues like dendrite detection, which cause battery failures, and then just the kind of tactics they're using for a safe battery design, separation barriers, ultra safety relays, refractory shielding, and safety vents to allow the batteries to off-gas. Now, the thing with the BMS that they kind of specifically called out was cloud-based battery management system. And they didn't really talk too much about what exactly this meant. Obviously, the car has a built-in BMS because it's always monitoring temperature and voltage and everything. So I'm not really sure what the benefit of putting it up into the cloud is, if that's going to be something that owners are going to have to pay for out of pocket if they want to have cloud-based battery management, or if this is going to be more like the new version of my Hyundai where you kind of get it for life as the first owner, and then it goes away if you are the second owner of the car or something. I don't really know. They say this cloud-based system is coming next year, so I don't know if it's something that's going to be on pre-existing cars or if this is only going to be on new cars going forward. They didn't say that. Some of you might have seen my recent video on the Ioniq 3 concept vehicle that was shown off at IAA Mobility in Munich last week. They specifically call out in this event that this is going to be a European car. They didn't mention anything about North America. So as of today, it sounds like Ioniq 3 will not be coming to the US, which is a big bummer because with the Hyundai Kona electric kind of being pushed to the side and only being available in the small battery, cheapest version, there's just not really another small EV in the lineup to take over for it. So that was kind of sad to hear. Now, Hyundai spent some time talking about a new version of their cars that we're going to be seeing in the near future, and that is extended range electric vehicle. So basically what they're going to do is cut the battery pack in half for like an Ioniq 5 or an Ioniq 9. They're going to put in a gasoline generator in the car, and this is going to potentially lead to range of over 600 miles. Now, they haven't gotten into any of the nitty-gritty details. Unlike something like the Toyota RAV4 Prime, which is really popular in the US, the gas engine is not mechanically connected to the wheels. This is only a generator to generate electricity to charge the battery pack. So theoretically, with a half-capacity battery, you would expect these to be able to go 120, maybe 150 miles before that gasoline engine needs to kick on and recharge the battery. So what I personally would love to see is it have DC fast charge capability so that you could still road trip it and go full electric if you wanted to. I'm kind of torn on this idea of extended range EV. Because they're not going to be coming out for another year or a year and a half. And anybody who drives an EV in the United States knows just how many chargers are coming online every single week. So they keep talking about charging stress being eliminated with the extended range EV. I don't have charging stress when I go out on a road trip. There's chargers everywhere. And like I just said, every day there are more. By 2027, the country is going to be blanketed in DC fast chargers. So I don't understand this kind of fear that they keep talking about. And with the Naxport, there's going to be a Tesla supercharger somewhere nearby, most likely. I like the idea that if somebody's not ready to go full EV, they can get this, they can charge it at home, do their daily driving with it. Great. But the problem is if they're not plugging it in and they're just using it as a gas car and just filling it up, it's going to be less efficient than even just an old, regular, traditional hybrid vehicle. We see that with the RAV4 Prime. If you do not charge it every day and are just using the gasoline engine to charge that battery pack, using it more or less as a hybrid, it's less efficient than if you just bought a hybrid RAV4. So I don't know, part of me just feels that they're enabling people to continue to be fearful of switching to a full EV. But let me know down in the comment section, what do you guys think of these extended range EVs that they keep talking about? Now, they did spend some time talking about Plios, which is going to be their new operating system with their Tesla-style screen in the center of the dashboard for infotainment and vehicle settings and navigation and everything. They are saying now this is going to be released in Q2 of 2026. We're not going to see it on an Ioniq in the US until the Ioniq 5 is redesigned in a couple years. They did say that the Ioniq 3 is going to come with Plios, and that is probably going to be coming out sometime next year. So that will be the first Ioniq, but it's not going to be available here. I feel like those are the major EV points from the presentation that I wanted to get to. So what do you guys think? Obviously, any advancement in battery tech is great. Make them cheaper, make them more in line with their gas cars. But at the same time, it just doesn't feel like a big enough of a leap for me personally to get super excited about what's coming in the pipeline. But I'm interested to hear your takes. So again, let me know down in the comments section. If you guys liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. Check out my store at ioniqguy.com for accessories for your Hyundai, Kia, or Genesis EV. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.